Welcome back to Speak Easy English, the podcast designed to make complex English conversations feel, well, easy. I'm your host, Alex, and today we're tackling a topic that can feel a bit daunting for anyone, especially if English isn't your first language: navigating the pharmacy. But don't worry, we're going to break it down into a slow, easy-to-understand conversation. Joining me today is our wonderful communication expert, Maya. Welcome, Maya.
Thanks, Alex. It's great to be here. You're right. The pharmacy can be a high-stakes environment where clear communication is absolutely essential. We're talking about our health, after all. So today we'll focus on practical phrases and tips for anyone visiting a pharmacy in an English-speaking country.
Exactly, and we'll go at a gentle pace, perfect for easy listening. Let's start with perhaps the most common reason people go to a pharmacy: picking up a prescription. Maya, what are some key phrases someone might use when they walk up to the counter?
Certainly, Alex, the simplest way to start is to say, "Hello, I'm here to pick up a prescription." Or you could say, "I have a prescription for," and then state your name. For example, "I have a prescription for Maya Sharma." They might then ask for your date of birth or your identification, like a driver's license. So be prepared for that.
That's a great point about being ready with ID. What if you're not sure if the prescription is ready yet?
A very common situation. You can ask, "Is my prescription ready?" Or, "Has my prescription for your name been filled?" Sometimes they'll tell you it will take a little while. If they say, "It'll be about 20 minutes, you can ask, "Where can I wait?" Or, "Should I come back later?"
Good phrases for managing expectations. Once they have your prescription, what usually comes next?
They'll likely ask for your insurance information, if you have it. You might hear, "Do you have your insurance card with you?" Or, "Can I see your insurance, please?" If you don't have insurance or you're paying out of pocket, you can simply say, "No, I'll pay cash," or "I don't have insurance." Then, of course, comes the payment. You can ask, "How much does it cost?" before you pay.
Right, understanding the cost is important. Now, let's move on to perhaps the most critical part: understanding your medication. This is where clear communication really makes a difference. What should listeners be listening for? And what questions should they not be afraid to ask?
This is indeed where we need to be extra careful. The pharmacist will usually explain how to take the medicine. They might say something like, "Take 1 tablet twice a day with food." If you don't understand, the most important phrase is, "Can you please repeat that?" Or, even better, "Can you explain that more simply?" Don't ever feel embarrassed to ask.
That's excellent advice. Sometimes medical instructions can sound quite formal or fast.
Absolutely. Other crucial questions to ask include, "How many times a day should I take it?" "Should I take it with food or on an empty stomach?" "Are there any side effects I should know about?" Side effects are important because they tell you what to look out for. For example, some medicines might make you sleepy, and you shouldn't drive.
And what about refills, Maya? That's another common question.
Yes, you'll want to know if you can get more of the medicine. You can ask, "Can I get a refill for this prescription?" Or, "How many refills do I have?" If you're running low and need more, you can say, "I need a refill for my medicine name prescription." It's always good to plan ahead so you don't run out.
Fantastic. So far, we've covered prescriptions. But what if you don't have a prescription and just need something for a common ailment, like a headache or a cold? How do you ask for over-the-counter medication?
This is where describing your symptoms clearly comes in handy. You can start with, "I'm looking for something for a headache," or "I have a cough and a sore throat. What do you recommend?" The pharmacist might then ask you more questions, like, "How long have you had these symptoms?" or "Do you have a fever?" Try to describe your symptoms simply. For instance, "My head hurts a lot," or "I'm coughing a lot and my throat feels scratchy."
And it's really important to mention any allergies or other medications you're taking, right?
Absolutely crucial, Alex. Always tell the pharmacist, "I'm allergic to penicillin," or "I'm currently taking medication for high blood pressure." This helps them recommend something safe for you and avoid any dangerous interactions. You can say, "I have an allergy to," or I'm currently on medicine for, and mention the condition.
That's an excellent point. Pharmacists are highly trained professionals, and they're there to help. So, what are your top general tips for anyone who might feel a bit nervous communicating at a pharmacy in English?
My biggest tip is, don't be afraid to speak slowly yourself. You don't need to rush. Take your time to form your sentences. Secondly, always ask for clarification. If you don't understand, say, "Could you please say that again?" Or, "Could you write that down for me?" Sometimes, seeing the words can make all the difference.
Writing things down is a very practical suggestion.
It really is. And finally, try to keep your sentences simple. You don't need complex grammar or vocabulary. Focus on getting your message across clearly. The pharmacist will appreciate your effort to communicate effectively.
Wonderful advice, Maya. So, just to quickly recap for our listeners, what are the most important things to remember when you're at the pharmacy?
Well, Alex, I'd say first, remember your basic phrases for picking up prescriptions and asking about over-the-counter needs. Second, always ask questions if you don't understand your medication instructions. Knowing how and when to take your medicine is vital. And third, be clear about your symptoms and any allergies or other medicines you're taking. A little bit of clear communication goes a very long way in keeping you safe and healthy.
Fantastic summary, Maya. And really, it all comes down to confidence and knowing it's okay to take your time and ask. Thank you so much for breaking down what can seem like a complicated situation into such an easy-to-understand conversation today. Your advice is incredibly valuable.
My pleasure, Alex. I hope it helps our listeners feel more confident on their next pharmacy visit.
And that's all the time we have for this episode of Speak Easy English. We hope you feel a little more prepared and a lot more confident about your next trip to the pharmacy. Remember, practice these phrases, speak slowly, and don't hesitate to ask questions. Join us next time for more easy English listening. Until then, take care.